everybody, Brandon Jones here. I hope you had a wonderful holiday weekend. I hope you had a nice amount of sugar. I know I eat lots of sugar. I got sugar in front of us. Bloodworth actually brought in a bowl of sugar here, so if you're hearing some candy gathering, that's what that's coming from. Let's all go to the trailers, everybody. I'm joined by Mr. Kyle Bossman.
I love trailers.
And you love being Irish, apparently, Mr. Daniel Bloodworth. What's your accent for the day? You're just the regular?
I'm just tired. That's all.
Were you prepped on the Irish accent there, Kyle? Were you like, I think I'm gonna go Irish on this one?
I think I did it last week, and I committed more this week.
To the Irish or to a different accent?
To the Irish.
I totally missed the Irish last week. I gotta go back. Gotta go back and review that. Well, there's no time. Let's watch some trailers. We're doubling down this week, folks. Not one, but two trailers in one conversation. I would like to score both of these combined. Yeah. Because, I mean, these are obviously two halves of one part. The yin of the Master Chief to the yang of the Agent Locke. Live action has definitely been done in the Halo series before, so I don't think this should be perceived as being, like, super bizarre. Like, what are they doing? What a weird way to tell the story. Or, at the same time, exciting. You know, like, oh, wow, we're finally getting some live action stuff from Halo. I mean, we got Nightfall. We got a whole miniseries that they released that was all shot in live action.
I also feel because it's to do with these two characters, it makes sense. Like, you're a character-focused trailer, and you could have done this any way you wanted to, in a way.
Full disclosure for me, I have not done my homework on this series up to this point. I've played Halo 1, 2, 3. I cut the Halo retrospective, so I did not play ODST or Reach, but I did watch the entire game being played and research the story and wrote those scripts. But did not play Halo 4, and Halo 5 is not really on my top anticipated list for the year. I enjoy these games. I enjoy multiplayer. I played Master Chief Collection the other night, so I love this series. But I can't say I really care all that much, and I think one of my concerns about this is I think we really need to move past the mystery of what's going on here, and I need a little more... I know we say context all the time on the show, and I'll move past that to actually just say story. I need some story here, especially considering setting up these characters in a pile of rubble, talking about people honoring Master Chief. It's like, we've been here before in this series. When Locke specifically says, like, all of this, and points around at all of the wreckage, it's like, Master Chief left a pile of wreckage in his wake? Get out of here. You know, it's just not... I'm not that shocked. When they say hunt the truth, like, I think it's a real simple explanation. I don't think there's a really, you know, deep conspiracy happening here. I just don't really care that much. So I'm curious if either of you can give me reasons to care. Kyle Bossman.
What they're going for is a crumbling statue of Master Chief, right? That's the thing that should make you care. Is like, first of all, there's a Master Chief statue, and then everything's destroyed around it. What happened? My conflict with these two trailers back to back is, I think they're a good idea, but I think they're stupid. I think with the live action, I think they look stupid. Probably Locke more than Master Chief. The way he, like, puts one finger up and the way that he gestures like a Power Ranger, it looks dumb. It looks straight up dumb, but I don't think that's a bad thing. That's what I'm trying. That's what my main struggle with this is. Is it bad if Halo commercials just become dumb?
What say you, Bloodworth?
I think so. I mean, I think
can trailers be dumb?
I think that they want this trailer to be very dramatic. I don't think they want you to think of Power Rangers or anything like that. You know, the one that Locke's narrating has more weight to it, for sure, because, you know, it is focused on, okay, what did Master Chief do that feels like a betrayal? At the same time, it's strange to me because these do not feel like scenes that can both happen.
Right.
They have to be alternate timelines. This is in like one person's perspective and then the other person's perspective.
Which is maybe what they're selling, and actually suggesting that there are two possible endings to Halo 5.
That's a curious thing because then, you know, as we've seen with the Zelda split timeline theory, like that just makes everything messy. And Kingdom Hearts is sort of similar in that sense too. I would like there to be multiple perspectives on the same events, and that would be interesting. But different versions of the same events, I'm not as sold on.
I also got completely burnt out on the model trailer that they released for Halo 3, where they had the
cool trailer.
The piece that was in the museum, and you went through and you saw all these soldiers, and then they had the Covenant that was holding up Master Chief, and then he like lit up the grenade, and then that was never in the game. Not even close. Like, that scene No part of that in any way referenced anything that happened in the actual game. And so I can't help but think that this doesn't happen. That this ending scene, this statue, this environment, you know, and so I would be more excited if I was watching this and looking at the structures in the background, looking at the ship that's up in the sky, you know, looking at that statue and wondering who built that, where are we, what did this area look like before it was destroyed. I think is all just kind of wasted effort, because it's like, I don't think this is in there. I think this feels like a completely separate team that just kind of went off and thought up this campaign and built these structures and try to make it look very quote-unquote Halo, instead of actually recreating a moment from the game. I think maybe Blood, if it had maybe kind of like echoes of similarity, but not necessarily like actually had the person sitting in front of the statue, like literally like don't recreate the exact same scene, but have it be just different enough that I am wondering, like, are these two different scenes, or are these two scenes mirroring each other? I don't think the people who made this trailer know what the truth is. But it looks pretty. I don't get... I appreciate the Power Rangers quote, Kyle, but like looking at it, it doesn't really bother me that much. I think the outfits look cool. I like that there are two of these. You know, so I think that's smart, you know, if they are actually getting into the character. And I don't want to bring any of my bias into, you know, not being interested in Locke as a character, or not really being super curious about what happens in this game, because there's just other Halo trailers. The trailer of him walking out into the cliff for Halo 3, the very first trailer that we got that was all shot in engine, impacted me way more than this did, because I felt like, oh, I want to see that explained, whereas, like I said, I think the quote-unquote truth will be very quick in the game. And I think I just don't feel a lot of weight here. 6.5 for me. I would have gone in a different direction in trying to sell Halo 5.
Again, I'm conflicted. I'm gonna give this a 7.9. I feel all of those things. You know, I think the voice acting is silly and the costumes are silly, and this entire live action. The idea of doing live action right now is silly. However, I don't know what you can show us to get our curiosity piqued, and so I like that. They tried something. You know, I like the shattered Master Chief statue, and I like the two perspectives on the same scene. The other guy's getting shot at the end. I don't know. I'm cool with that. I'm cool at it's at least an idea that they executed.
I think I'll go with a 7.8. It at least succeeds in piquing my curiosity and saying, like, okay, what is happening in this story? You know, I want to know what's going on. It feels like, you know, it doesn't feel like it has to have any connection to any Halo before it, other than, you know, Master Chief is a known hero. You know, like, it could go off on its own completely. And I do think that there is a sense of acknowledging that you have no idea who Spartan Locke is. I think that's why they call him out by name. But so I think that's part of it too. Is it's very, very much intended to be mysterious and somewhat vague. But at the same time, it makes me question whether I'm actually going to like this story because of, you know, what they do with these two different characters.
The Mario Kart series has been a part of many gamers' lives for over 20 years, ever since the debut of Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1992.
I debated. I went back and forth between whether I really wanted to specifically focus on this trailer. Because it is a silly trailer for a silly announcement, and I think everybody can just look at it and realize it's silly. But I want to talk about this. I think this is fascinating that Nintendo spent this much time on this one announcement, because they do start showing you classic, you know, Super Nintendo Mario Kart. They go right for the feels, man. You know, it's kind of like the Total War had a retro trailer, so we are getting a glimpse. They have even film grain on it, you know, just to kind of like go through and actually show off all of the old Mario Kart games. And it's specifically this bit right here with like, oh, I wonder what it's going to be. And when they start out and you see 50cc for the first time, you're like, I'm done. That's it. Okay, it's 200cc. I got it. And then we have to like wait for another 40 seconds for them to keep going and explaining. And it's one of those pieces of media, which is why I want to talk about it, that I have to wonder if the developers knew that people were going to know, and they're like, we're just Nintendo, we can't help ourselves, and we just have to drag this out because we think it's such a big deal. Or if they literally thought, like, man, people are just not going to know. Like, they'll see that 150 revving up, and they'll just be on the edge of their seat wondering, I wonder where this could possibly go. You know, all joking aside, I think the trailer should have started with 150cc. I think it should have started and, you know, like Nintendo, and literally just like had Mario Kart footage in the background, had 150cc, and then had that, boom, 200. Not even set up that you were going to start talking about Mario Kart. Because the whole big thing for Nintendo Direct is you can prepackage all this stuff. It's not an actual live Nintendo press conference. It's a pre-cut video. And I think that, just to jump immediately into the announcement and maybe even show more gameplay, because the gameplay is pretty bonkers. Like, you see Mario Kart 8 running that fast, and it is. I am curious to test that out. I think it should have started there. I think the trailer could have been the same length, but just this whole retro setup with, the big question mark. What are they talking about?
It's really suspect with was that the Wii one? They make it look so old. You're like, come on. And then it's like, look at this high def stuff. Like, we haven't been playing the game already. It's really weird to me the way that they just cut at the end. Like, it's like, okay, now it's done. Like, there was no really finishing shot to sell it. It was just like, and now words. Music done. Words.
So if you showed me this gameplay right now, I would not say, oh, that's faster than normal. So
Right.
I think that's what that's the work the beginning of this trailer is doing, is they have to make a 200cc trailer and they have to say why it's a big deal. And I like what they chose to show why it's a big deal. I like the whole timeline. Otherwise, it doesn't. That announcement kind of falls flat if you don't explain, I think, explicitly what this is, because you can't really see it. To me, it does kind of look the same as regular Mario Kart at the end. I think the voiceover is not quite on the specific tone that this required. I think it might just be like the regular Nintendo guy, you know what I mean? And I think it could have used, I don't know, like a documentary style narrator maybe.
Like, my first reaction is, if you're going to make it faster, then why aren't you showing the F-Zero track? That was in the last set of DLC.
That's worth noting, because they did actually show that after this. When they were explaining the feature,
Yeah.
they did show the F-Zero track, but yeah, it's not even present in this trailer.
Everything here is in the base game, so I think they want people to, like, realize that, even if you don't have the DLC, you can get this update.
Good point, Bud.
I also wonder, and this is, again, getting more into the game than the actual trailer, but was this just some weird idea someone had? Or was this actually...
Right?
Was this thought conceived during the development of Mario Kart 8? And they were like, ooh, let's save it. Let's hold out until right before E3, until there's like a dry, period. Or was this literally like 3 weeks ago that somebody was like, oh, you know what we could do? We'll just bump it up. We'll just bump that up to 200. And it was like, oh, that's an announcement. We'll end the Nintendo Direct on that.
Oh my gosh.
That's the worst part of it. It's just the where they announced it. This is not a finale for an hour-long presentation or however long it was.
This gets a 6 from me.
Yeah, it gets a 6 for me, too. It's just funny you have the same number.
I'll give it a 7.5 just for doing its job, and no more points than that.
Wow, that's a generous...
But you talk about doing its job, couldn't have Iwata done its job by literally just saying, hey, we're making a 200cc, here's some gameplay?
No, because you want to make it a big deal.
You need to do this with the trailer?
Right. If your assignment is you have to make the trailer, how do you make it? They did what they probably should have done, basically. I mean, there's way better ways to do it, but it explained it. It made you know. We know everything about 200cc now.
I have long wanted to do an episode of Let's All Go to the Trailers entirely about Japanese trailers. Because they fascinate me. Because I do not live in Japan. When I watch a Japanese trailer, it reminds me of like a firework, just like an explosion of confetti. It's just everything all at once. We get art, dialogue, characters, gameplay, cinemas, menus, just like it's like a dare to figure everything out, and figuring everything out was like what they knew people were going to be trying to do while watching this trailer. Just like, what on earth? We're getting anime, we have vehicles, we have combat, they're like in an arena, there's 2D, 3D, like, top down.
Yeah, modern and classic, girl in her underwear.
Yeah,
like,
fantasy pop. I mean, it's
singing.
just... So, I mean, let's talk for a little bit. We can talk about, obviously Shin Megami Tensei versus Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, which we knew about before. Can you comment on this style? Or, as stupid Americans, should we just take the stance of like, hey, Japan, what are you going to do? Like, this is just kind of the way they sell stuff. And we can't say it's good or bad. Or can we really, can we talk about this and score this and be critical of it because it may or may not make sense to us?
I think we absolutely can, because we did Persona 5. And Persona 5 is paced very well in how it shows you everything and how it reveals everything about itself. I would not say that about this trailer. They throw a lot at you and just like, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this.
Yeah, I mean, was that a jet unicorn? What was that?
Yeah, it's a jet unicorn. She's a Pegasus rider, but like that's the thing you ended on, you know. And what's funny is this was in the U.S. This was our U.S. trailer. Her last line's in Japanese, not translated. Mm-hmm. Why? Why would you not even put a subtitle on that?
Yeah, I think maybe some subtitles would have made sense, just, you know, so you get the same context as a Japanese viewer. I do feel like this is very much in line with, you know, how you would do like a title cinematic or opening for an anime or something like that, where you take this song and then you hype up everything that's, you know, that's cool about it. I don't think that it's bad as a trailer for the game in terms of like getting people excited about everything in the game, but I do think it's bad as a first trailer. We were just trying to piece together what in the world this game even is. You don't even have the title until the very end. So it's just like, what is happening?
Which you love, Kyle. You were a fan of that. You think that was the way to do it. To string people along, and then all of a sudden at the end, because you guys had a huge reaction to this.
Yeah.
I less so had a reaction because I actually was not that informed about this game that we were getting. I'd forgot that this was a thing, that these two series were being crossed. One final question before we score and wrap this up.
Sure.
Do you think the creators of this trailer, like, is everyone in Japan right now like, yeah, totally, and all of us in America are like, what? What's happening right now? Like, do you think they created this knowing that people were going to be extremely confused and enjoyed that and realized, like, we just want question marks, you know, sprouting out of people's heads when they see this, and that's where we want to kick our advertising campaign off from? Or are Japanese people like, what are you talking about? You don't get, I mean, it's all right there. They're showing you everything.
No, I think that's fair. You're right, because it's been in silence this whole time, and nobody even knew what to think it would be. And it's just, it's proudly announcing, hey, all of this is nothing you expected. So I guess I get that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a level of intentionality and certainly in terms of being over the top, you know, again, like going back to the Jet Pegasus, I mean, what, you know, like you're going into like Bayonetta territory now, you know. It gets really crazy, and I think maybe that's part of the reason for the fast pace is, you know, to show it's like, okay, these two things are coming together, we're not going to take it too seriously, we're going to have a lot of fun with this.
I give this a 7.4. I will give it a higher score than the other two trailers we've talked about previously on the show because they show a lot of stuff, and I love that. You know, we've never heard of a game before, especially if it's at an event like a Nintendo Direct, and we just get this explosion of footage. I really dig that. And again, like I don't want to suggest that stylistically I have issues because I might not end up playing a game like this, but to me, it's bizarre that we're getting 2D animation and 3D animation and like just the styles that seem to be coming all over the place. It's like we're in the future, we're in the present, we're in the past. And as someone that may not be knowledgeable of either of these franchises, but somebody who's as a proud 3DS owner who looked at something like Fire Emblem Awakening and it's like, man, I should probably take some time to play this game because people say it's incredible. I do have a vague interest in this franchise and this crossover, and this trailer's not doing anything for me to really pull me in. And I think maybe that would be a smart thing for them to do with the first trailer with the announcement. Yeah. Especially with all eyes on them in a Nintendo Direct.
So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a... Man, I'll give it a 6. So it's kind of a failure on a lot of levels. But you're right, because there's so much good here. There's so much good in the game. Like, good for you for waiting this long to show us something. I think everything's out of order. I think you don't need the shot of the two guys in the grocery store. You don't need the shot of the one guy, like, being sweaty and, like, with his shirt off. Just the same as you don't need the shot of the girl turning into her underwear. Yeah, and you use that Pegasus shot in the beginning and at the end. Oh, my gosh. It seems sloppy. It seems like a sloppy trailer.
I give it a 7.2. The confusion would have been, lessened a bit if we had some kind of heads up that, hey, this is it. And now you can kind of glam on to everything that's happening. And then maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe it should have been like a little bit more varied in pace. It's the whole thing is so fast paced where I think if you had something a little bit slower to establish things and then you went into like a high paced montage, it would have came across a little better.
Those are our 3 main trailers this week. I apologize for not having like one really great trailer. You know, it's always good to have one awesome trailer that anchors the show. I mean, some people could say that the Halo trailers, that they really, really dug those. But I thought the conversation stemming from those trailers would have been the most extensive. And again, I was just curious to hear what you guys were going to score those and chat about them. We will be talking about other trailers coming on up, and we will be watching a trailer we've never seen before called Please Don't Touch Anything, which I have on my door. It's the rule when we come into my office, except for the Easter candy. You guys are allowed to touch that. Please don't touch anything. Have you heard anything about this?
No.
Never heard of the game?
I don't think so.
And we're just jumping right in.
All right.
Is it wrong to call your game Please Don't Touch? You want people to touch your game, right?
Oh, it's a good title.
Yeah, I think so.
So please, it sounds like a museum, right?
That's a dare. Yeah.
Maybe you're like going to a museum and you can't. It's probably like maybe like Spikes. Maybe it's like a 2D game where you got to move around like a Flappy Bird, where it's like, oh, don't touch the sides.
Yeah, it's very.
Right.
It's gonna go for some comedic appeal too. We can count on that. It's gonna try to make us smile.
Kyle, betting on comedy. Here we go. Wow, super moody. This place feels weird. This trailer feels weird. Whoa.
Wow.
Do we think this text is part of the game, or is this just in the trailer?
Feels like part of the game.
This is the beginning of the game for sure. Reminds me of like Papers, Please.
These are the thoughts that I'm having in my head. I hope so.
Please don't touch anything.
We gotta get somewhere. Wow, snarky text. Okay, so they want you to touch things, actually.
Yeah.
This is a very misleading title. Really slow pace. Okay.
So it's cool. We're getting like hints and things. Like, oh, that's it. I'm in. That was a good teaser.
In, of course you are, Kyle.
That's a very good teaser. I like the math problem we get to solve. Do you see how I would like grab the Y's?
Grab your screwdriver, grab your hammer, work. 1 equals 11 equals 21 equals... Okay.
And so, like, those are all fun hints. Like the Y for A, you know what I mean? Those are both buttons on a controller. I bet we switch those around. This is fun. Like,
I feel like this is literally a slice of gameplay, and this is one of those games where you kind of beat your head against the wall trying to figure out what you're supposed to do next.
Well, this is a launch trailer, though. I gotta know how much this game is. I mean, this game is like free. What? This has got to be free.
Oh, no way.
You're gonna pay money for this?
Yeah.
What if there's literally one other thing to this trailer, Kyle? What if this game is literally only 30 seconds longer than what you're looking at right now? Because I'm not getting the idea that we're going to any other environments other than this.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm on board. I think, so if this is your game, if you got to make the trailer for Please Don't Touch Anything, I think you did a really good job. Do you know what I mean?
I don't.
What else do you do? If it's a game where you only look at this one panel, how do you make that trailer? And so I like what they did here just with the beginning. Just the hook, basically.
So I guess we just like wake up in this room and we have no idea what we're doing. Like, you know, are we employed by a company? Do we get this job? Maybe that's your thing. Like you know,
right.
you
You
have
could
something
have
with some
titles, I
voiceover
guess.
that explains like, okay, welcome to your job. Whatever you do, go in this room and don't touch anything. And then you see it. Yeah, of course you would like it, Kyle. This is one of those things that frustrates me because it's like we're going to intrigue you by not showing you anything, you know? And like I need more stuff. I mean, I got in trouble last week because I needed more from a trailer that you guys dug. But
yeah, I feel like this is entirely the situation you're put in when you start this game. I mean,
do we think this text is in the game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it could be. It could or it couldn't. I think it could go either way. I think this might be sort of them drawing your attention to what's going to be going through your mind, because I think you could literally just be placed in front of this and have to. All right, well, I guess I'll touch something now.
It's also a very presumptuous trailer because, like, I wonder what city that is. Like, I don't. It's clearly not a city. It's like a made-up block city of Tetris pieces. So then they like put that thought in my head where they're like, I bet you're wondering what city that is. And I'm like, I'm not actually. And it's like, oh, maybe we can do that. And it moves like way slower than I would. You know, like I would have clicked that button within 2 seconds of playing this game. I would be more interested in this game. Again, it's terrible because I'm talking about the game and not talking about the trailer. But if we were constantly introduced to new environments, you know, if after we figured out the whole thing that makes this, whatever, this control panel tick, then maybe we get a different control panel or a different setup or also have the, you know, so if they sold this concept as this game is going to put you in situations where you're not supposed to touch this stuff, but you're going to want to anyway, because ever since like the age of 3, we all just wanted to push every button we could possibly find.
Or what else are you going to do? I mean, yeah, you're pretty much stuck here having to do something.
Also, man, the text is like centered sometimes, and it's not others in the thing. Like, oh, that drives me crazy.
Oh, and strange English. What are we supposed to do with these instruction?
Who's saying that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like is the button saying that? You know, it's like it's not an arrow pointing to the button. It's actually a speech bubble.
Yeah.
So is someone in the room like, talking to us? There's no voiceover. It's tough. This is one of those issues where it's tough to separate what we think of the game from the trailer, but we need to do it fast because this is a really short trailer. 5.8.
Brandon, you're not going to like this.
I'm going to love it, Kyle. I'm going to love it. Kyle, you're going to endear me more than you ever have. I'm going to be... When you give high scores like this, I just want to start the next episode right away. Can't wait.
It's a 9.
Ah!
What?
I think this is a really good trailer for what this game is. I think it's a good trailer for the game. It intrigues me. It presents the game as the game should be. You know, and it's presenting us what this game is. You got to work with what you got always. So I'm into it. I like it. I want to play this game. I'm intrigued.
The problem you're faced with now, Kyle, is I'm going to force you to play this game.
Okay. Well, did you do it? Just played on it.
Yep.
Okay.
You're streaming this game tonight. I don't know if I told you that. What do you think, Blood?
I think I'll give this a 7. I don't know. I guess the trailer's fine. Maybe that's a bit too generous. Maybe I'll give it a 6. 6. That's the real score. I think the trailer's fine in terms of giving you an idea of what you're getting into in the game, but I think it would have been better to have gone outside the box, especially if this is the game. It would have been better to have done something to establish what you're going into. Like some kind of story thing, walk into the room or something.
So you want to play this, Kyle?
Yeah.
Like bad, right? You're like, oh, I really want to play that.
He wants to touch
Yeah.
something.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So those are the trailers we're talking about this week. Other trailers that I recommend you check out: Assassin's Creed Chronicles not only introduced China, which is the first, the new Assassin's Creed game that you're going to be able to get your hands on, they also showed gameplay from the other 2 parts that make up the trilogy of Assassin's Creed Chronicles, which is this new side-scrolling, which it actually is not the first time that Assassin's Creed has done this. The mobile Assassin's Creed games kind of follow a similar style. We recently had Just Plays with Andre Renee, who really dug them. So I have to admit, I had her thoughts going into this and was kind of curious, and I thought they did a good job representing the different styles. That they did a good job of basically selling this concept, not as like, this is the next big amazing thing from Assassin's Creed, but like, we're committed to this. You know, like, there's 3 different characters. We're going to tell you who they are by name. We're going to tell you a little bit about who they are. I believe you actually hear them speak, which is cool that they, you know, I like having all their ducks in a row before they introduce something. You know, a few things piss me off more than a trailer that seems like they're selling the game before they really know what's going on.
Assassin's Creed games trailers always use music very well, and it was interesting to see this use its music so well, because obviously it doesn't look great. You know, the animations are chunky, but it still feels like a big event because of like using new music and the way that I always like the way they use music.
Yeah, I think this is just a good way of like, really revealing what they have going on and showing off all 3 games. Really making sure that like those art styles come across, because that's you know, it's interesting that they're reflecting the environment with each different art style.
I want to talk about 2 CG trailers back-to-back, Asteroids Outpost and Skyforge. Asteroids Outpost is one of my favorite trailer genres, which is some big cataclysmic thing is going to happen. We're going to freeze it. You're going to move through that environment in slow motion and look at all of the amazing things happening. And
in this case, still not know what's going on.
We do that in Skyforge, too.
We do that in Skyforge, yeah. Which is why I did set that up, Kyle, that I was going to talk about these back-to-back.
Gotcha.
But thank you for clarifying. One thing that I did like that I didn't pick up on the first viewing was did you see the symbolism with the fish in the bowl?
No.
When the fish bowl explodes?
What symbolism is there?
Well, you see, you're on an outpost on an asteroid, so you are a fish in a fish bowl because your oxygen is limited to your environment. Okay. So, you know, the vibe that I got in this trailer is that the whole point is like keeping this outpost alive from all of these attacks. Did we need to see gameplay in this trailer? Is it okay for? I mean, this was a fairly big budget trailer of a game that I hadn't heard of before.
You hadn't heard of this before?
Asteroid Outpost? No.
No, this is Asteroids Outpost. This is related to the original Asteroids.
Thank goodness. I mean, lore-wise, we've been waiting forever for that to continue, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because of that, I thought Is this a mobile game? So I looked it up. It's not a mobile game. This is a heavy PC game.
I got a strategy vibe. I definitely
Yeah.
got some kind of a sim vibe from this, where it's like the whole point's kind of like FTL, but like you're stuck on an asteroid, where it's like you have to manage and make sure that the people survive that are in this outpost, and make sure you're able to protect it from forces attacking it from outside.
That's so funny. I didn't get that vibe from this trailer at all. I think because the first thing you see is like something getting shot.
You see the fishbowl. You start with a fish, and then that
Right.
fishbowl explodes.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when you look at the game, it's like adventure out, gather resources, do this and this and this. The trailer's very violent, I guess. It seems like, oh, okay, this is like an action game, is what I thought my initial impression was. Did you not get that impression?
I got the same impression because I gather that what we're looking at is a fail. Like, basically, we're looking at that moment right before you're like, okay, I'm starting a new game. It's just like everything has gone to hell. Everybody's dead. Everything's going to blow up. And this is what you don't want to happen, but it's kind of hopefully selling up the scale of all of the terrible things that can go wrong, which can be fun. If you're playing SimCity, it's always fun when a big dinosaur comes rampaging through and everything lights on fire and all your citizens die. Skyforge, on the other hand, don't really know what's going on here. Not a lot of clues. We see a hero get ignited by fires that might possibly contain memories of people aspiring for things, and then the person suddenly feels like they can fly, and then they fly up and look at a spaceship. And I'm just like, I needed a little bit more. I need a little bit more. I need that on a t-shirt. That's just, I keep saying that over and over.
That is a cool t-shirt, actually.
I need more.
I Need More is a great t-shirt. Honestly, I think you're seeing his progression through an RPG. First you fight the rats, and then you get you had Bo, and then he had a weird hammer that crashed everything. I feel like
we're Baby in there at some point too, right?
Yeah, I feel like we're watching him progress through an RPG, and then he gets to become a god.
But he doesn't know where he is at the beginning, but then he's totally cool with it by the end.
Yeah.
Do we think he's just rolling with it, or he lost his memory and then regained it, or is he just like, hey, I'm in an RPG, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think it's definitely his memory because of especially the rat scene, because you see the rat, and then you see him feel the scar on his face.
Ah.
Sure. So
that's a legitimate clue there, Blood. Nice. Okay, yeah. So they do tease a couple things. Again, I thought Asteroids Outpost. At the same time, we know a little bit about the story, but and I'm guessing a third-person action game, because we see him fly up in the air and go flying around, and so he better fly, man. I mean, if I play this game and he ain't flying, you've done a poor job in selling it. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare again just spends a ridiculous amount of money. So this is not a ad for their new expansion. This is not even an ad for a part of their new expansion. This is an ad for a part of their new expansion. And has a live action component, has, crazy camera work going around showing off all the stuff, has John Malkovich delivering a better performance than this expansion deserves by far, and really, really sells it on all fronts. I think the only thing I can negatively say about it is it reuses some clips that I've already seen before, but it's how many cutscenes are in this? One piece of one part of the zombie expansion. But yeah, super budget, which feels bad to give credit to something for just throwing lots of money at it, but they do a good job. It's what they want to do. It's what I was surprised when I saw Asteroids Outpost. I was like, whoa, you're bringing it.
Not only that, they're having fun.
Yeah.
When you see, if you look at this trailer and say, this is stupid, look at the Burger Town shot, and then it's yeah, they know. You don't, they know what this is. They're just having fun. Have fun with them. And
finally, Dirty Bomb Open for Business trailer. I thought was kind of funny. I thought it had a good attitude. It's always tricky when you try to do something jokey with your trailer. We were talking last week how Borderlands went completely off in the wrong direction that we felt. And I thought it wasn't too much of an attitude. It wasn't like Sunset Overdrive where you're like, whoa, slow down. Yeah, it's funny, but you're just 30% less jokes, please. And I thought the joke to actual serious gameplay demonstration ratio was fairly balanced in this trailer.
I thought the whole idea of you're gonna get a job, and they just went through all these things, and some of them were very game related, but then some of them were really, really cheeky.
Throw a party.
Yeah, throw a party. Blow things up. That tagline at the end, though, that's an off-putting tagline. Difficult to learn, impossible to master. I'm
that's not a sell.
Yeah, I'm I see what you're playing with there, but it's not working.
I think it's also a danger too if you're making a first-person shooter, you kind of have to realize that you're in a massive genre, and so I think it's always dangerous to have the vibe of just stop playing everything else and play this. And more we realize we're one slice of the pie, and here's what we're doing differently. And so, if you like this kind of thing, then jump in and enjoy it.
I think that's exactly right. I think they're showing They have classes that are in other games, and so this is a unique way to present them. The actual last line I actually really like is "Get rich and die trying." That's so good. And die trying. Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
So Kyle likes the comedy writing. They pulled it off.
They pulled it off somehow. I mean, I didn't chuckle at it. I just think that's good writing.
You didn't do a reverse chuckle. You didn't sneer at it.
Yeah, it didn't make me mad.
You know, I got to admit, it doesn't make me feel terribly good to do it, but I got to give it to Call of Duty. Kyle and I talked about this briefly before the show. Are you still feeling Call of Duty, Kyle?
I think that was
trailer.
I think that was the best trailer of the week. Forgive me.
I think I'll give it to Call of Duty as well. Yeah, it's just kind of. I feel like Halo's kind of close to it, but it definitely has got me more questioning than anything.
But yeah, again, it's not just money. It's not just like fast cuts and lots of crazy music and stuff. It's really how they package it. And again, it never hurts to focus on one very, very laser-specific aspect of your game to really, bring that up and sell it and show that, like, on its own, this is a cool thing. If you didn't know anything about this and you just watch this one trailer and you think, wow, that looks really cool, I'm going to buy this for that. And it's like, did you know this is actually just one component of this expansion? And so you're not only just selling this one thing, you're selling one part of something, and so it makes the grand whole of the expansion feel greater than just one thing.
Like we talked about with Shin Megami Tensei, it's presented well. It's presented in an order. It's telling a story through which the shots they choose, and like dialogue that's chosen as well. It's all good. It's a well-made trailer. Drives me crazy.
Those are the trailers this week. Tune in for another episode of Let's All Go to the Trailers next week. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.